Welcome to our first day working on bee yard number 2. This is land that we actually own. It came with the purchase of our second house, and this is forest land, not farmland. So we're not going to have any trouble putting honeybees here. This is going to end up being our main apiary, and it's about a half a mile from the nearest neighboring beekeeper. It's a triangular parcel that hasn't been worked in probably decades, so we're going to have to clear all these small trees. We're not entirely sure where the boundary lines are, which seems to be a common issue here in rural Japan, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue since we just have the shrine on this side and the one neighbor on this side. At any rate, I think we should just start by getting the weed whacker out and then stacking some wood. So after a couple half work days, we've got all the saplings cut and piled up more or less neatly here. And now we're going to work on getting the leaves raked up, which there's quite a few of, more than it looks like. I don't mean to belabor the point, but it's not as simple as just raking because we have all these vines and thorns and stumps to deal with. Now we're running around collecting stuff, so these cinder blocks are going to go under the hives. We got these reed mats from the garage. You might recognize these hive boxes from our first bee yard. Turns out we can only keep 3 there, so we moved these other 6 here, and these are what we're going to start with. This is Bosco, our little foundling boy. So as you can see, we still have about half the property to really properly take care of. But we're going to focus on the front half for now because we only have so many beehives, and as we get ready to expand, then we're going to come back and clear this stuff out so that we can fence it off too. This is what we're using for fencing material. I'm not super worried about the wild boar attacking our hives, but this is really just for peace of mind. And we spent about 30,000 yen, or roughly $200 on this, so it's a reasonable investment. No, we've never actually put up boar fence, but this is what everybody does around here, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so now that I've got the first post hammered in, I'm over here at the neighbor's fence seeing how they do things, and so they're using a heavier gauge panel than we are, but I think that's fine. And what they've done is they've buried the first horizontal wire, or whatever you call it, of the panel, and then they're not using any overlap here, so that's what I was interested about. So I'm just going to hammer the next post in right in line with the last vertical wire of that panel. Now I'm over at the other neighbor's fence getting a second opinion. It looks like they did not bury the bottom rung, or maybe it did and it just eroded. But what I'm really most excited about to show you guys is this freaking monorail that they have. Look at this cool device. So the engine's over here, and I'm not going to expose it because it doesn't belong to me. But historically on the island, all of the hills would be planted in citrus and the flatlands would all be planted in rice paddies, and so every farmer would have this monorail to go up into the hills and help them harvest. Anyways, very impressed. Alrighty, first panel in place, so this is the model we're going to follow for the rest. And you'll see I pounded the post down below the top, so we're lacking the support at the very top. It's not a fence you're going to lean on, but I don't think that's important because the boar dig, they do not climb. So as long as we've got the base taken care of, I think we're going to be good. Okay, that's the first section along the road here done. Hey buddy. And not to toot my own horn, but I have built a fence which has withstood 2 hurricanes, and last time I checked on Google Maps, it is still standing. So this is not that type of a fence. This is very much a temporary job, and it is really not handsome to look at. So we'll grow some beans up it or something like that to start with, and what I would like to do is replace it with a hedge at some point, tall enough so that I can put another row of beehives with the entrances facing out towards the road here, because what the bees will do is they will fly out and see this fence is here and then fly up and over it, and so they'll be cruising along above people's heads so that people can drive along and not get whapped in the face by bees. Now moving on to the back fence now, we've got a whole different host of problems here. The ground is a lot harder, and of course the topography is quite different, so we're having to dig some of the hillside out in order to fit in our fences. Now clearly we're dealing with some heavy erosion problems, so we would have actually liked to build the fence up on top of this hillside, but we're doing it down below because it's easier. And of course in the future we're going to have to address this. A rock wall would be great. We'll just see if that ever becomes feasible. Up at the top of this hill is Ida Hachiman Shrine. So this is all, you know, basically public forest land that we can get in there and take care of, and we'll have to in order to keep it from falling down on us. Stoked to get in here and save some of these baby trees as well. Look at this, a podocarpus in the wild. Okay, so we've got the 2 permanent sides of the fence done as far as we're gonna take them, and this 3rd section to complete it is gonna be temporary. So to the left of me is going to be nice and clean for bees, and to the right of me is, we're going to get to it as we get to it. So this section is just going to be temporary for now. The way I'm doing this is first I cut these handy reference sticks. This is the length of the panel, and this is the height that I want the post pounded to. So the tape measure is helping me be reasonably straight, and the stick is helping me locate where the next post is going to be. So I just set it in there and get the pounding. Next we're digging a trench so that we can bury the bottom wire of the panel to make it harder to dig up. This is the most time-consuming part of the process just because of all the roots and such. Then I just get the panel in place, make sure it's roughly at the height I want it, and we're going to use some little pre-cut lengths of wire to wire it in place.
Might want to be wearing gloves there, Dippy.
Alright, well it looks like we're getting wrapped up just in the nick of time because it's about to rain. We still have a driveway and some sort of a gate to construct, but we're not going to get bees here until March actually, because they're being babysat by a fellow beekeeper. So the boss estimates another 4 work days to get this all ready for the bees. And in the meantime, we just got our rototiller back from the shop, so we're going to be moving on to doing that on some of our other land. So thanks for watching us put up some boar fences. Join us next time on Benton Homestead.
cute.